Mr. Roy Hodges was born on November 29, 1927 in Burlington, Arkansas to Ralph and Olivera Hodges. Roy's mother, Olivera, came from Alaska in a horse and wagon with her family before settling in Burlington and opening a general store. Roy's father, Ralph, spent all his life in Burlington except for 1 year in France during World War I and 7 years in Oklahoma for work. After moving back to Burlington in 1924, Ralph and Olivera bought the general store and adjacent house and farm from Olivera's father. Although it is a small town, to Roy, Burlington has everything: diverse farming, the general store, a school, and a supportive community where everyone knows everyone. Roy began school at a small schoolhouse in Burlington. Here he learned reading, writing, and mathematics. When the automobile came to North Arkansas, people began to flock to the larger cities, and school buses became available. In the early 1930s, the Arkansas Department of Education began consolidating schools, including the Burlington School. As part of Arkansas's free school transportation system, Roy was able to ride the bus to Omaha, Arkansas, where he graduated high school. The Bible was another important literacy resource for the Hodges family. Roy's mother would read the Bible to Roy, his brother Eugene, and his sister Helen every night after supper. The church played an important role in his family's life. Roy's parents used to carry him to church every Sunday in a basket. In the early days, the congregation would meet during the summer at the picnic grounds. In the winter, church members would go from house to house to hold service. After the school was moved to Burlington, the congregation began holding services in the empty schoolhouse, and in 1939, Roy's father and mother, along with other community members, built the Burlington Baptist Church, where the congregation remains to this day. Even though Roy had graduated high school and could read and write, observational learning was more heavily valued in the community. Roy learned most of what he wanted to know from his mother and father. Roy held a number of jobs in his life, including working at the tomato factory in Burlington, making castings at Pace Industry in Harrison, and working on the family's cattle farm with his father. Roy would go out with his father and help him work, learning the trade as he did. This experience with his father was invaluable to Roy and helped to make him the person he is today. The time and place of Roy's life greatly influenced the purpose and value of literacy for him. Many national and political events played out over the 89 years of Roy's life. Yet, the local community was what really mattered to him. He knew how to write letters and read textbooks and the Bible, yet all of his friends he would want to write lived in the area, and community gatherings were where news was exchanged and stories were told. Roy's livelihood centered around the farm and the industries where he worked. These were not trades that could be learned in a book or through formal education. They were learned by watching his father and supervisors. While Roy made a living working on the farm and in factories, business and religious education was the role of his mother and later his wife. Roy's mother, Olivera, ran the general store and later Caroline's dress shop in Harrison. Roy's wife also owned her own business, a small hair salon in Burlington. Just as Roy's mother read the Bible to him and his siblings, Roy's wife read the Bible to their children. Religion and religious education was an important aspect of the community of Burlington. While not many books were available, the Bible was a consistent resource in the community, as it is for many small towns. Roy's experience is surely unique and special in today's society, and there is much from his life we can apply to our growing understanding of literacy. The place and time a person lives does not simply affect the literacy resources they have access to, but also the purpose and value literacy has for that person. A university town may value academic literacy, while a town such as Burlington values observational learning, religious literacy, and oral communication. Depending on where and when a person lived, political and economic factors influenced their literacy opportunities. When the automobile was invented, schools and resources were consolidated. National and state laws shape what can and cannot be taught in schools, and sometimes what groups are allowed to attend school. A person's literacy is molded into a unique set of abilities by many sponsors and events outside of the traditional schoolroom. If so much of a person's literacy education takes place outside of the schoolroom and often before school begins, why is a single form of literacy taught the same way to every student? Students come to the classroom with unique family and community backgrounds. Some students are read to at home, while others read a book for the first time in the classroom. Students learn values and purposes of literacy from observing the family and community around them. By acknowledging the way values and purposes of literacy change between places, teachers can change the standard by which they evaluate students. The movement toward a standard has occurred throughout history. As access to education has changed, school curriculum has evolved, and students are now compared to other students on a global scale. The value and purpose of literacy, however, is not standard across the globe, and students are certainly not standard. What if instead of judging a student based on a vague standard asserted by distant lawmakers, we accept student diversity of literacy? Teachers could base curriculum and projects on student interests and involve the community. For a history project, students could explore different events in different ways. Students who value print literacy may choose to partner with the local historical society and present their findings on how events impacted locals in a paper, while other students who may value oral communication may choose to interview a family member who was alive at the time and deliver a presentation to the class. Students who live in a place where traditional academic literacy is less valued should be viewed as the important members of society that they are, and by their contributions they will make, whether as a general store owner, preacher, hairstylist, or cattle farmer in Burlington, Arkansas.